There are moments in history when a weapon doesn't just enter the battlefield, it redefines it. For the United States, one of those moments came in the early 1990s, when a massive armored force prepared to face the army of Saddam Hussein during the Gulf War. At the center of that force stood a machine that represented decades of American engineering, military doctrine, and technological ambition, the M1 Abrams. When the war began, the world watched closely. Iraq possessed one of the largest armored forces on the planet, equipped with Soviet-built tanks like the T-72. On paper, it looked like a clash between two massive armored armies. But what followed would prove something far more dramatic. The moment American Abrams tanks entered combat, it became clear that this was not just another tank. It was a technological leap that would dominate the battlefield. The origins of the Abrams go back to the height of the Cold War, when American military planners realized that future wars in Europe might involve massive tank battles against the Soviet Union. The United States needed a vehicle capable of defeating the most advanced armored threats in the world. The result was a tank built around three core principles: overwhelming firepower, superior protection, and advanced battlefield technology. Early versions of the Abrams carried the 105mm M68 cannon, already powerful by the standards of the time. But later models, such as the M1A1, introduced a far more devastating weapon, the 120mm smoothbore cannon derived from German engineering. This gun could fire armor-piercing rounds at extreme velocities, giving the Abrams the ability to destroy enemy tanks at distances where they often couldn't even respond. But raw firepower was only part of the story. Inside the Abrams was a level of battlefield technology rarely seen in armored warfare at the time. A sophisticated ballistic fire control computer constantly calculated factors such as wind speed, air temperature, ammunition type, barrel wear, and target movement. Laser rangefinders instantly measured the distance to enemy vehicles, while thermal imaging systems allowed the crew to see through darkness, smoke, and desert dust storms. The result was devastating accuracy. An Abrams crew could detect, track, and destroy targets while moving across rough terrain, often hitting on the first shot. In a battlefield environment where seconds determine survival, that advantage could mean everything. Then came the desert. When Iraqi forces invaded Kuwait in 1990, the United States assembled one of the largest armored deployments in modern history as part of Operation Desert Storm. Hundreds of Abrams tanks were transported across the ocean and into the harsh desert landscape of the Middle East. Waiting for them was an Iraqi army that had fought a brutal 8-year war against Iran and possessed thousands of tanks, including many Soviet-designed vehicles. Iraqi commanders believed their armored divisions could challenge any invading force, but what they did not fully understand was the technological gap they were about to face. When the ground war began in February 1991, the Abrams immediately proved why it had been built. American tank crews were able to spot Iraqi armor from miles away, using thermal sights that turned night into day. While Iraqi crews struggled to see through darkness and sand, Abrams gunners calmly identified targets and engaged them at extreme range. In many engagements, Iraqi tanks were destroyed before their crews even realized they were under attack. The famous depleted uranium M829A1 round, nicknamed the Silver Bullet, cut through Iraqi armor with terrifying efficiency, often penetrating tanks like the T-72 with ease. One of the most dramatic demonstrations of Abrams' dominance occurred during the Battle of 73 Easting, one of the largest tank battles of the war. In a violent clash across the Iraqi desert, American armored units encountered Iraqi Republican Guard forces entrenched with tanks, armored vehicles, and artillery. Visibility was poor, the battlefield chaotic, and the stakes enormous. Yet, even under those conditions, Abrams crews used their thermal optics and targeting computers to identify and destroy Iraqi armor with astonishing speed. Within hours, entire Iraqi formations had been shattered, while American losses remained minimal. For many soldiers involved, the battle became proof that the Abrams had fundamentally changed armored warfare. The tank's mobility played a major role in this success. Powering the Abrams is the AGT-1500 gas turbine engine, capable of producing 1,500 horsepower. Unlike traditional diesel engines used by most tanks, this turbine gave the Abrams remarkable acceleration and speed for a vehicle weighing over 60 tons. On paved roads, it could reach speeds around 45 miles per hour, and even across rough desert terrain, it could move rapidly while maintaining stability for accurate firing. The engine also produced a unique high-pitched sound, rather than the deep rumble of conventional tank engines. During NATO exercises in the early 1980s, soldiers began referring to the Abrams by a chilling nickname, Whispering Death. Yet what truly made the Abrams terrifying in the Gulf War was the combination of everything it brought together: technology, firepower, protection, and the training of American crews. The tank's composite armor, strengthened with advanced materials, provided exceptional protection against enemy fire. Even when Iraqi forces managed to hit an Abrams, the tank's design often prevented catastrophic damage. Ammunition was stored in special blowout compartments designed to vent explosions away from the crew compartment, dramatically increasing survivability. Throughout the ground campaign of the Gulf War, Abrams units advanced across the desert with overwhelming force. Iraqi armored divisions collapsed under the pressure of coordinated American air power, artillery, and armored assaults. When the war ended after just 100 hours of ground combat, the results were astonishing. Hundreds of Iraqi tanks had been destroyed, many of them by Abrams crews engaging targets at ranges their opponents simply could not match. For the world watching the conflict unfold, the message was unmistakable. The M1 Abrams had proven itself not just as a powerful tank, but as one of the most dominant armored vehicles ever built. It demonstrated how technology, training, and industrial power could combine to create a battlefield advantage that few adversaries could challenge. Decades later, the Abrams continues to evolve through new upgrades, improved electronics, and advanced ammunition. But its reputation was forged in the deserts of the Gulf War, where it proved that American armored warfare had entered a new era. Because when the Abrams appeared on the battlefield in 1991, it did more than defeat enemy tanks. It showed the world what happens when American engineering, military doctrine, and battlefield innovation come together in one unstoppable machine.